She's a fictional character with an obsession for cleanliness who often finds herself caught in the middle of murder mysteries and big secrets. Nita Prose is the Toronto-based author of the #1 New York Times bestseller book, The Maid, which has sold 2 million copies and led to 2 other books in the series, The Mystery Guest and The Mistletoe Mystery. Now, a 4th and final book in the Molly Maid series is out. It's titled The Maid's Secret. Joining us now is author Nita Prose. Good morning, Nita.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now, for years you worked as an editor helping authors launch their books. How did you transition from an editor to an author?
Well, I think of myself as an accidental novelist. I didn't actually mean to do this. I loved my work in editing. And it really happened because of a creative lightning bolt. I was at the London Book Fair, which is an event that brings publishers and agents together in London every year. And I was staying at a hotel. I left my hotel. I came back in and I completely surprised the roommate who was cleaning my room. And, you know, I looked at her, she looked at me. We were both sort of embarrassed by the fact that I'd sort of caught her out in the room. And I remember thinking to myself, it is such an intimate and invisible job to be a roommate. She'd been cleaning my room for days, so she knew everything about me, but I knew nothing about her. And, you know, that sort of launched a kind of voice in my head. A few days later, I was on my plane ride home and I started to hear my protagonist, Molly, from the entire series of the book, you know, and she talks not like me. It's very clean and polished and precise. She's a maid. She works at the Regency Grand Hotel, a big hotel. And I wrote down what I was hearing on a napkin while I was on my plane ride home because I didn't have any paper. And that became the prologue for the first book. So that is how it happened. That's how I turned to the other side and became a writer.
Now, your first book in the series, The Maid, was hugely successful, selling over 2 million copies around the world. It was translated in dozens of languages, was #1 New York Times bestseller. Did you ever imagine from that napkin that it would get to this point?
Absolutely not, Rachel. No idea. You know, at the beginning, I was sort of freaked out about the notion of going to the other side, as we call it in our industry, moving from becoming invisible as an editor to becoming very much less so as a writer. So that was an intimidating move, and I certainly did not think it would be so successful. At the beginning, I wrote for one person only, just for myself, and I thought, okay, if I can get from the beginning of this story to the end and please myself, then I'll decide what to do with it after. And I'm so excited that so many people have embraced these characters.
3 books have been written. Now you're releasing your 4th new book, and it's the final book. It's called The Maid's Secret. Tell us about it.
Well, Molly is doing really well. She is the head maid and special events manager at the Regency Grand Hotel, a posh hotel. And one day she goes in for a very special event. It looks a heck of a lot like the Antiques Roadshow, but it's called Hidden Treasures. They're shooting an episode in the hotel. She brings an old shoebox full of her grand's old trinkets to be appraised. And lo and behold, this lovely little maid discovers that one of her grand's old things is not a replica at all, but it happens to be an item that is worth so much money, incredibly valuable. And little Miss Molly the Maid goes from rags to becoming a multi-millionaire in that very instance.
Oh my goodness. Well, Nita, you're having a book launch at McNally Robinson tomorrow evening. I will be there with you tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it very much. If people want to check it out, An Evening with Nita Prose and her book launch of The Maid's Secret starts at 7 p.m. tomorrow at McNally Robinson. Thank you so much, Nita. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow night. Can't wait.